Hey everybody, welcome to OGMB, where he's the OG and I am B. Today we're going to be talking about Rutgers men's basketball, and then a little bit later we're going to hear from the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Caleb McConnell. But for now, let's talk about their most successful win yet against Indiana last Saturday. Dan, what'd you think?
I thought, for starters, this guy here did a fantastic job. Got to give Coach Peichel a big shout out. Um, it was all about the game plan. I mean, going in, they knew that Indiana was hot. Indiana was confident. They're undefeated. What do they do well? And what they do well is get the ball inside to Trace Jackson and let him do his thing. Everybody collapses on him eventually. He's kicking it out, and they shoot threes. The difference is with Rutgers, the defense they have, Caleb McConnell, Defensive Player of the Year, being the best defensive player that they have, he's out there covering and closing out on those threes. So, yeah, they're closing in on Trace Jackson, but the minute he kicks it out, they're scrambling all over, making them pump fake, move here, pass the ball. Before you know it, it's 6, 5, 4. And how many times did that happen with the refs tapping himself on the head going, Rutgers basketball, just like that.
For sure, for sure. All right, so speaking about Trace Jackson, what do we feel about him? Going into the season, he was a big look. Everybody, majority of Big Ten fans were predicting Indiana's going to win Big Ten. And then they're also looking at Trace Jackson possibly being the number one pick in the draft this year. Any comments?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I was one also that thought that. When the minute he declared he's coming back, I, like many other people in the Big Ten, were like, oh no, we got to face him again? And what's that going to do for Indiana? Well, what it did for Indiana was made them the number one team in the Big Ten. Everybody said slam dunk, oh, they've got it. Throw in a couple good freshmen, a transfer, and before you know it, Indiana ranked number one, and deservedly so. But until they come to the rack. Or is it Jersey Mike's Arena? We'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, Trace Jackson, I like him as a player. He's a good kid. He speaks well. I like watching his interviews. And even after this game, he said no excuses, which you got to love and admire about a good player. There's no excuses. Rutgers whipped their butt, and he took it like a man. But he's going to have to get some help, because if they're not going to be able to get those threes off or figure out a way to take advantage of when teams double him low, he's in for a long season. And that may just knock back his number one, number two, top 10 pick, because he's just got to figure out a way himself to get out of it. Maybe he's got to step out and start hitting some 10, 15 footers.
Mm-hmm. Trace is definitely hurting right now. In his whole college career, he has not beaten Rutgers. That is Rutgers' sixth win in a row against Indiana, and the first time Trace has fouled out, period. So I think he is definitely going to need some time to recover after that game.
But yeah. What I got to tell you, that in itself, because he's hearing it more and more. I'm sure after the first couple, maybe even the third, it's like, what's the big deal? One team. He's got Michigan on his mind. He's got Michigan State. He's got Ohio State. He's thinking of all these other teams. But then it's like, oh, yeah, we haven't beat Rutgers in how many times? So now it's compounded. Trace, you haven't beaten them 6 times in a row. They've whooped you. 8 out of 9 overall with Indiana itself. But you, Trace, you have never beat Rutgers. That will be weighing on him, and I guarantee you, he's circling that date. I believe it's in February, if I'm not mistaken, when Rutgers goes to Indiana. He's going to be having that mark saying, I am not leaving this school without beating that team. So beware, Rutgers. It's going to be a tough game out there. They're not going to forget it.
That'll be a good game. Speaking of going away, Rutgers is notorious for the rack, as I will forever call it. What about you?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought it was still the barn. I played in the barn, the old Rutgers. It was the same thing. That barn was a barn burner. I mean, and for years nobody thought that you could beat Rutgers in the barn. So when we went in and played them, it was a packed house. I think it was even the last game at the barn, or the second to last game, and the place was going crazy. So when they knocked that down and built, the rack, a lot of people were relieved. A lot of other teams were like, thank God, got rid of that barn. Well, guarantee you they're saying that about the rack now, or Jersey Mike's Arena. Unfortunately, I don't know if the Jersey Mike's Arena JMA is gonna like take hold. It just doesn't have that the rack. It's got that the rack. But I know that Rutgers, and God bless Pat Hobbs, who we'll get into a little bit later. They know that the next arena they build has to have a lot of whatever the barn had, whatever the rack had, Jersey Mike's Arena, because it is electric.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to admit, you've been to quite a few games. Is there anything like it when you're in there as a student, as now a grad? It's crazy.
Yeah. Ever since my freshman year, I really made a point to make as many basketball games as I could. And being in that student section is just so electrifying. Even if you aren't a fan of basketball, which I've dragged many of my roommates, housemates to go watch, even if they don't know basketball, you're still bound to have a good time just because the energy
and
is
I'll bet
so
they thanked you for it afterwards every time.
It's such an experience. I feel like if you go to Rutgers, you just have to go to the game. So I think the student section alone just plays such a huge part in the success of the rack within itself. Last game, I'll input a video, but from seat to seat, top to bottom, filled with students dressed in banana suits, wolf suits, painted, the floaties they throw, and that just fuels the players, and it fuels the rest of the fans too to just keep going. The chance that they have, you can't beat it.
You can't. And the design of the arena too, I think, has a lot to do with it. You know that I just went to the Kentucky Rupp Arena, which was kind of on my little bucket list. I got to go to these great arenas. Dean Smith Center is next down in North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I'll be chalking
Maybe
that
I'll
one
get
up.
to go to that one.
Maybe you get to go to that one. But the Rupp Arena, I was impressed at the massive size of it. And, wow, it's probably one of the biggest capacity arenas in the country. But it did not have that electric connection that the rack has. As a matter of fact, the student section was less than half the size of the student section at the rack. So if that may be a secret, we may be giving something away here. The secret might be to make the biggest student section possible.
It's true, because the students start the chants and then the other fans kind of just follow the lead of the students. So you don't really see too many fans. Okay, everybody, are you? It's always the students initiating the hype.
And it's contagious because then it's going throughout. I see people 85 years old in there standing up. Are you? And I'm like, oh, calm down, relax. Somebody get a medic over to section 103. No, and I think we should talk a little about the game itself. What was your kind of feel? Well, you watched it. You know basketball now. What did you see happening besides them stopping Trace Jackson and then missing show? What did you see? What was your
So
highlights?
this was the first game that Paul Mulcahy returned to off his shoulder injury. He was a huge piece of the team last year that took them to March Madness. As a captain, he just is he's a leader. You can tell on and off the court. He really brings the team together along with Caleb as well. So to have them both together again, you could kind of see the shift in the team from the last few games. Don't you agree the team kind of just felt a little bit more connected, even when you throw the freshmen in? It's their first year, but somehow that dynamic was just the flow. It was so much better this game.
100% correct. And the idea of taking two different games that you can really see the contributions these guys mean and make. And one game was Temple.
Right.
You take the Temple game, no Caleb McConnell, no Paul Mulcahy. Who are you going to? Who are you counting on?
Right.
The freshman. And Derek Simpson, as good as he is and as great as he will be, the poor kid's thrown against seasoned guards at Temple who literally made it so difficult for him. His confidence had to be at zero after that game. And deservedly so. I mean, he's a freshman, and here they're saying, so you got to bring the ball up, you got to score some points. This is a big game. It's not even home. You take that game, and then you mirror it with this game, where now you got Caleb bringing the ball up, 50-year senior. Nothing phases him. This guy's bringing it up, telling people where to go. Oh, there's a little pesky guard trying to get the ball from me. Hey, get out of here. And so he controlled the flow from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And even just the passes and the other teammates, you can see, knowing he's out there, and the poise and confidence that Caleb brings to the table is contagious. And that's what's important for any team. You need to have that player or players that the other guys can feed off of.
Exactly.
It's like going into battle. Mm-hmm. If there's somebody saying, let's go, grab your gear, let's get going. You're like, okay, let's go. If those guys aren't there, you're like, you go first. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So
you need guys like that. So this game, you had them both. And when Paul came in the game, it freed Caleb up. Because now Caleb doesn't have to do all that he had done, which was bringing the ball up, passing, rebounding, defending, which, by the way, his lockdown defense on Xavier from Indiana was freaking awesome. But so here's now Paul and Caleb. It was like John Lennon and Paul McCartney. For those of you who don't know, those are very famous musicians. They're back. The band is back. And they're all playing, and they knew, and here's Paul driving and passing and cutting and kicking out. It is what this team has always dreamed of, to have Caleb and Paul in the backcourt together. It is energizing. Mawat, Andre, even Cliff, the pressure's off. And then Derek gets to sit on the bench and watch these guys and sees the confidence. Nothing phases Paul. Nothing phases Caleb. And now he comes in with a whole nother energy. And the game is right there for the taking. Mm-hmm. That helps Derek 100%. And moving forward, I know Derek is going to be better because of those two guys.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So what did you think of not only Derek? Let's get into Derek a little bit. What did you think of him as a freshman coming in there? Crazy Big Ten environment, packed house, screaming mad.
That kid is fearless, to say the least. The way he drives to the basket, the way he is just taking shots, even if he missed a couple, he'll just keep trying and trying. He is a great addition for the team, a great energy as well. Like I said before, he meshes in with everyone seamlessly. It's almost like he had been there for a couple years already.
That behind the back move, if you remember, he drove right behind the back, step back, jumper. That's a seasoned veteran move. That comes with uber confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's what he had. So what happens after that? He comes down, he's feeling it. You get in the zone. Shooters know it's a zone. That kid got in that zone. Paul throws that long pass to him. He catches it. He was even a little off balance, but he's like, no, I'm in the zone. He took that shot, nailed that three. He got into it. The confidence, the zone, the force was with him.
And not to mention, the crowd loves him. So playing back to the crowd in the student section, every time he did something great, you could just feel the energy in the whole rack, which just makes him, any player, just want to keep going and going and going.
Exactly. Like I said, that kind of stuff is contagious. The fans filling the arena with noise and sound and chants, it just pumps you up, and you want to win and play your hardest for those fans. And yeah, it was just a great overall win for Rutgers, for the program, for Coach P and all his hard work. Thanks, Coach, for Pat Hobbs and all that he's done to get Peichel here, to lock Peichel into a long-term contract. Great job, Pat. And even let's bring it over to football. He brings back Shiano. Program needed a lift. Couldn't get a better guy than that. We'll talk about that again another time. But Pat Hobbs has a lot to do with this too. But congratulations to the team. We'll get Caleb on and hear about how he feels and get some really cool insight from him. But in a nutshell, I think you would agree that that really elevates the team now going into a Big
Oh,
Ten.
absolutely. The first conference game and you get the dub, it's a great start. But at the same time, it's only the beginning. You know, they have another huge game this coming Thursday against Ohio State away. So that should be, like you said, a good confidence boost going into that
Yeah,
one.
and I know that the guys are up for it. We got a chance to talk to a few after the game, so I think they'll be ready. It's just that you're not at the rack, you're not at the Jersey Mike's Arena, and now what's going to happen to your confidence when you get down a few points, and are they going to respond? And I know Caleb will, I know Paul will. I'm kind of confident that Moat will. He's a freaking rock solid, by the way. I love
Yeah,
the way
props
he
to
plays.
Mowat too that last game. He did phenomenal.
Those couple of posts, which again was part of the. There's Caleb out there. And I saw one play where Caleb had the ball, and there's that little pesky guy trying to take it from him. He's like not phased at all, and he's pointing to Moat to go low.
Mm-hmm.
So Moat like, oh, okay, and he runs low. He posts up. Why? Because Caleb saw he had a small guy on him, took advantage of it, said, Mo, get down there, passes him the ball, boom, 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 2 points, right when we needed it, because Indiana just scored.
Yeah.
So now we come back with an answer.
Yeah.
And Andre plays tough, crashing the boards. Cliff had a mediocre game, to say the least. Maybe not his fault because of the 2 fouls, but I don't agree with those attempted dunks from the foul line now. It's like anytime he gets the ball, he's like dribble, and then he's like reaching over guys trying to dunk it. It's like, Cliff, relax.
Right.
You're gonna get your chance. But I get it. He was pumped. He was on the bench most of the game. He wanted, to get be part of it, and I understand that. I mean, he almost felt like all this great stuff is happening, and he's not out there to share it. So when he did get it in, and I think there was one time, he literally tried to dunk it from almost at the foul line. And there was a guy between him and the basket. He didn't care. He was going. But he'll learn. I don't think he's been playing very long in the scope of, kids playing ball. I don't think he was playing at 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably just started playing basketball at maybe 13 or 14, something like that. So he's got a lot of court sense yet to come. And it's only going to get better for him.
On that note, let's get to the highlight of our show. On the other line, we have senior captain, reigning defensive player of the year from Jacksonville, Florida, Mr. Caleb McConnell. We were fortunate enough to catch him before his flight to Columbus, Ohio. So let's tune in to New Brunswick and see what he has to say. Hey, Caleb. Thank you for being with us today. How are you doing?
What's up, guys? For one, thanks for having me. But no, I'm feeling good, feeling great. Just trying to get ready for our next game we got coming up.
For sure. First and foremost, congratulations on beating the number 10 team in your first conference game.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. Great job.
Appreciate it.
We got a few questions for you. Obviously, we want to kind of get inside the head. What makes Caleb McConnell tick? I'm sure a lot of people out there want to know. So let's just talk a little bit about your mindset before a big game like that. Here you guys are coming in. You just lost to Miami. I know that was a heartbreaking loss, and you're coming back home, but yet you're playing possibly the best team in the Big Ten, who's undefeated, and just waxed North Carolina, who was a former number 1. All these things got to be going through your head. But what is Caleb McConnell's mindset leading into that game?
Man, well, of course, Indiana has been on the road this year. Indiana has been picked to win, the Big Ten, the NBA championship, and they've been all over everywhere and all over the media. And they've just been on the road, man. It's a really good team. So coming in, especially for me, I played in big games, before, but this year was just a little bit different coming into this game. But I definitely knew what we had to do, just to get ready and prepare for this game. So I just wanted to make sure the guys were ready and I was ready, to take on this team.
Gotcha. And as far as the leadership that you now have, because you were a captain last year, but now Gio and Ron are gone. So it's more on you and Paul's shoulders to kind of get this team in gear. What do you do a little different this year than maybe last year in terms of being a captain and preparing this team?
Man, well, first I'll honestly start by saying that coming in as a freshman here, and learning how to play different roles, and coming off the bench, and playing the point guard spot, playing the shooting guard spot, playing the 3 and the 4, and just playing all over since my freshman year. It's kind of prepared me for this moment. And previous teams have also prepared me for this moment, and to really to embrace this team and to really step up. I feel like me and Paul have done a great job, an excellent job in leading this team and getting our guys prepared for games day in and day out. And really, I think the biggest thing for this team that me and Paul really try to preach is just growth. Every day we gotta have a mindset of coming into practice, of just getting better, one day at a time. Like early in the season, me and Paul kind of compared our team to the Celtics, not in a skill set way, or not at the high level NBA level,
Sure.
but just in the growth. The Celtics went all the way to the NBA Finals last year, but they started off the season as one of the worst teams. But
yeah.
I feel
they lost like 10 in a row, I think.
yeah, man. And they started off as one of the worst teams. So, but then they just kind of hit that switch, and they just gradually continue just to get better and grow and each of their roles. So I think that's the biggest thing, and me being a leader this year, that's what I try to preach, is just, guys, just continue just to grow every day. Don't worry about the downfalls of, just not playing or not making shots and things like that. So I try to preach to these guys just to, let's continue to get better every day.
Good. And I think that's very wise, and especially coming from a seasoned vet and player like you, the coaches appreciate it, because you're like another coach on the court, and
Yeah.
you really showed it against Indiana. I got to tell you, we watched how the team played without you and Paul against Temple, for instance.
Yeah.
And you could just see that kind of deer in headlights kind of look, where it was a little overwhelming for guys, especially like Derek, his first big game as a starter.
Yeah.
And he's playing away, and everything is kind of pressure. But now here, you're out there, nothing phases you.
Yeah.
You got poise and confidence like I've never seen since your freshman year. You've been growing in that department, and there you are, ball in hand, little pesky Xavier, whoever, trying to get it from you, and you're not even thinking he's there. You knew exactly what to do, which calms the entire team.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do that naturally, or you specifically tell yourself, no, I got to handle this. How do you take that going into a game, knowing that it's on your shoulders to keep this team calm?
All right, man. Well, for one, I take pride in that. I take pride in being a leader, because somebody has to do all the things that nobody wants to do. And me and Paul talk about it a lot. It's hard being a leader, man. I feel bad for guys like LeBron James and the Chris Pauls and the and the guys that really lead their teams. And because man, it's hard, man. Like every day you got to come into practice and be the first one there and be the last one to leave. You got to go upstairs and watch film, and I just feel like all those things since my freshman year, like I said, has just prepared me and led me to the way I play now. Because now I seen for one, I seen everything. I seen what big games look like. I seen what big crowds look like. I seen what pesky guards look like. So everything is just coming into play, and now it's natural to me. Now I can just play freely. I can read the game. Things are slowing down for me at this point, because I'm a little bit older, and that's and those are things that I tell my younger guys. Just stick with it, continue to grow, and eventually things will start slowing down for you.
That's the key, man. When the game slows down, you see everything.
Yeah.
It's speedy, it's fast, but you're at your own pace. You're seeing everything. Like there was one play you made that I even said it earlier in the podcast, that you told Mag, while you had this pesky Xavier on your butt trying to get the ball, and you're literally just like, get away, and Mag, go low. You sent him down because you saw he had a small guy on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure enough, you made a move, threw him a pass, Mag makes his move, 2 points.
Yeah.
All because you had the game slow down, nothing was bothering you. You just like, it's like in practice. man,
Exactly.
go low, get down.
Exactly.
And you did it. And that's something that the team has missed until now. You're there, and Paul's the same way.
Other than taking Trace Jackson completely out of the game, what other strategies did you guys have beforehand coming in?
I mean, really, that was really kind of the main game plan, and keeping Xavier Johnson out the paint, because he's been going on a tear lately. The kid, honestly, he's a solid point guard. He's been having a real solid season, and he's been giving a lot of teams trouble, especially getting in the paint and making the right reads. And they've been having and they've been on the road this year, especially offensively. I think they're almost like they're leading a lot of all the statistical things on synergy as far as our offense and defense. But offensively, we wanted to take away Trace Jackson's touches and keep Xavier Johnson out the paint.
That makes a lot of sense. As far as the assignments go, you guys are working out. You play in Indiana. How do they know who you particularly? Congrats again, reigning defensive player of the year. They must have that in their pocket, saying, "Why? Who do we want to shut down?" And it was Xavier Johnson. I said, "Caleb, that's who you got."
Oh yeah, of course, man. Because that's exactly. So I mean, they kind of have a 1-2 punch going with Xavier Johnson and Trace Jackson. Getting things going for them. But they also had a freshman that actually didn't even play, and they even prepared a game plan for me to switch on to him. Whenever he checks into the game, or if he got things going. But luckily for us, he didn't play. So my main focus was really just shutting him down, Xavier Johnson.
So last year you led the Big Ten in steals. Is that something you still look for in your game, or does it just come natural to you at this point?
Honestly, I was talking to one of my friends earlier this week, and he was like, Caleb, man, you were never you're never a defender. And I was like, I know, man. I just, in high school, I was always just looking to score, and I never even worried about defense. But now it comes so natural to me. I'm just able just to read what other teams are doing and read other players. And sometimes on defense, it feels like I even know what they're going to do before they even do it. So it comes natural, but it also comes from a lot of film work. I pick up on a lot of plays because the night before and the days before, I'm preparing myself and I'm watching film. I'm seeing what kind of plays they're running on offense, and I'm kind of getting their rhythm down. So now in the game, it just it's kind of just happens for me.
It's cool that you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't realize how much film means and adds. There's a whole education, there's a whole science. It's like going to school when you're studying these teams, right? I mean, and it's looking at stats, it's looking at who does what well, and then it's studying film. So literally, you can't be a dummy and play this game well.
Yeah.
It's, you got a little work to do, and congrats to you for being able to put that work in and kind of switch from a offensive score in high school to now, my God, one of the best defenders, if not the best defender in the whole freaking country. I mean, that's really an amazing 180.
Yeah.
And you've played a lot of ball, obviously. So a lot of it is probably instincts.
Right. No, exactly, man. So it's like my freshman year, no film. Sophomore year, no film. Or junior year, no film. And then going into my senior year, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna actually listen. I'm gonna listen to my coaches. I listen to my parents and listen to other people in my ears. So I really started to study players. And then so I seen that after I was studying players and I go into the game, I'm like, they're doing the same thing they do that I seen on film, and now they're doing it. So now I started to pick up on it, like, okay, like, all right, well, like, what happens if I just take away this pass, or if I just shoot the gap, because I seen it before in film. So then I started getting steals, and then I started, okay, well, now this guy can't go left, so let me force him left, So I started to pick up on a lot of things. So now it's just a thing I do. And then I don't really talk too much, or no one really talks about, the offensive end, but I really picked up a lot of things on the offensive end just because I studied so much film. So film is a big key in the reason why I play so well.
Cool. And one of the things you guys probably started, I know when I played ball, it was all about tendencies,
Right.
where the coach would literally, it was like a high school yearbook. They'd have a name of a guy and then his likes and dislikes. It's like loves
Right.
to go right, loves to shoot, from the 3-point, loves to do this. And his tendencies are kind of what resonated with me, where that's what I remembered. I was like, oh, this guy, he likes to go right. So I'm going
Exactly.
to make him go left and let's see him
Yeah.
beat me that way. And I
Exactly.
think that's what you get on film as well. So again, it's so nice that you can say that. And hopefully there's some young kids that might be watching this and understand that there's a whole nother part of the game than just getting the ball and putting it in the hoop.
Yeah, man, you definitely have to study the game, man. You can pick up a lot of key things. Like you hear a lot of the NBA players say, "Man, I study this guy, or I study him, or I model my game after him," and those things are real, man. I feel like the earlier that you can do it, then the earlier you'll start picking up on things, and then the game will really start to slow down for you. So I feel like that needs to be even more of an emphasis, for a lot of young players, especially high school players, because I know they don't watch no film and no basketball at all. And then if they do watch basketball, they're watching it just for fun, like, oh, he just got a dunk, or oh, he could shoot threes, but they're not really paying attention to the small details of the game. And I feel like that's a big part. I feel like a lot of details are missing, in a lot of people's games. And if they just pay attention to small things, then I feel like they'll be able to enhance their game, a lot.
Well said.
Right. So you and I entered Rutgers the same year, and I think you and I can both agree that the RAC's atmosphere has changed and grown exponentially from our freshman year to now. Just talk a little bit about how that affects your guys' play.
And the growth of the rack is crazy. Like honestly, man. When I first walked into the rack, this was on my official visit. This is I think this is in April, maybe like 2018. I took an official visit here, and I seen the rack, and I'm like, okay, it's an all right stadium. It's not nothing crazy. It's a little dingy in here. It's old. The facilities wasn't that nice. And so now when I get here and I play my first game here, man, it was probably had to be like about maybe 1,000 people in the crowd, watching our games and cheering for
Wow.
me. And so it was kind of crazy, playing in the atmosphere like that. And I'm just like, the games weren't, it was just feel like a high school game, honestly. And then so now we start. So my freshman year, we didn't win at all my freshman year. My sophomore year, we started to win. So now we started to get more exposure, Rutgers, all this stuff. We're getting a lot of attention now. And so now more games we start playing, the more Big Ten games we start winning, the crowd just keeps getting bigger and bigger and then bigger. And then I think it had to be at the point, was it end of my sophomore year, maybe my junior year, man. We played, I forgot who we playing. It was a ranked team, and the rack was sold out. It was like our first sellout in like years. And we're like, man, everyone on the team is like, man, like, it's like, man, before the game starts, we're like, this is crazy. Like, we got to sell out. There's all these fans here. It's so loud. And man, the rack now, as you guys know, it's just such an amazing place, man. And it just kept taking steps and steps and steps. And now the rack is what it is now, man. And it's so electric in there when you're playing now. The floor is shaking. You can't really hear anything. And it's just a crazy, man. It gets you going. It's almost like and I always tell people the rack is magical. Like, man, like I done seen some crazy stuff happening there because it's just the energy it brings, and it gives the players. So I definitely feel bad for our opponents that have to play in the rack for sure, man. But it's crazy.
Oh, trust me, they don't appreciate when they see you on
Yeah.
the schedule now, and they go, "Oh my God!" Nobody
Right.
wants to play in the rack. And I don't blame them. It is
Exactly.
hell to play. You can't hear. You can't
Yeah.
when the crowd's going nuts. When Pike wants to stop, and even he's up telling everybody, "Get up, get up." You don't have to hear anything. All you're doing is defending.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that are probably saying, "Hey, ball me." It's not. It just consumes your mind so much. They might as well just give you the ball.
Man, no, hey, no, I tell you what, man, we definitely feel it on the court. Like I said, when the Rack, let's say it's a close game, it's like 2 minutes left, and we're up 2 points, and we need a big stop or something. We feel it. The players feel it. Like we call, we call out a screen coverage, and you don't hear it. You just have to. At that point, when the Rack gets that loud, you got to play off instinct. You gotta just know where you have to be at. You got to know to get over the screen, or like the communication is zero communication because you can't hear anything. And your emotions are going, the adrenaline is going because everyone's so loud in there. So it's just a unreal feeling that you don't get in other venues. And so man, the Rack is magical, and it's just an amazing place to play. And I hope they don't ever change it. I hope they don't ever add seats, take out seats, or nothing, man, because that place is special, honestly.
Yeah, and if they put in the dictionary, the definition, if you look up at the word deafening, they should have a picture of the packed Rack in a basketball game, because nobody hears anything in that place man. For that time. It's just crazy, and you know how important it is to embrace that, because not every college athlete gets to feel that and see that, and I can see how you and Paul and all the guys, they start to really understand the value in just a lifespan that is. You'll take that with you 20, 30, 40 years from now, going, oh man, there was nothing like the Rack back in the day.
Mm-hmm. I remember, again, our freshman year, for the student section specifically, they couldn't give these tickets away. But for the last couple of years, you get an email at 10 a.m. saying, okay, tickets are available. If you're not on it within the next 15 minutes, you have no chance. So have you been to other away games where their student section kind of comes close to ours?
Yeah, who would be your next close to the Rack type venue that you play at?
So I would definitely have to say, it's probably cliche, but it really is a crazy place to play at, which is Purdue. If you haven't played in Purdue, or for the guys that haven't played there, or even if you're spectating and you haven't been in there, the Mackey Arena is a crazy place to be in, especially when they're on the road. When they're on the road, the roof comes off of that place every single time, every game, and that place is very electric, man. In a place that's very underrated now, that that has been on the rise for these last couple of years, especially since they've been good, is Illinois. That place gets that place gets very, very loud and very, very crazy at times. So but those two arenas are probably next to the Rack for sure. But I will put the Rack above those. But just
Illinois for sure. Yeah, I remember last year they had you guys going. I know you got beat pretty bad up there.
Yeah, man, they put 20 on us, man, and the crowd didn't help either, because the crowd's gonna let you know that you're not doing good too. So
yeah, well, you can always say we'll see you in Piscataway,
right? See you at home.
We'll take care of that. Now, I know you're getting ready for your next game, and again, we really appreciate you coming on right before you're taking off for Columbus. What do you guys see in Ohio State? How are you kind of, without giving away your game plan? What are some of the things that you guys know you got to concentrate on?
Yeah, I mean, well, for one, they have an awesome coach, man. Coach Holtman he does an awesome job. He's been doing an awesome job the last 4 or 5 years. He's been there, and they've been a great program. Of course, you guys know Ohio State is always a stellar program to go to. Always have guys that go to the league. They had a freshman that I really loved last year, and he was a lottery pick, man. That kid was good. But
the one that was part of your legacy block.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, that kid,
wonder
man.
You like him. It's on the board before every game.
No, man, but that kid was pretty good, man. But
yeah, he could stroke it. He had a good stroke.
Yeah. He could really light it up, man, and he was really efficient. But this year, man, I think they have a young team, and they have a couple grad transfers, so they have a mixture of just like us, they have a mixture of older guys and younger guys that are pretty good and contribute. But going into this game, we kind of just want to follow the game plan. They gave us keys to follow. The keys to follow were pretty much, they have a young point guard, so we kind of want to welcome him to the Big Ten, and show him what it's like, playing against a defense like ours. And really, man, we just want to play our game, man. And I think if we follow the game plan and play Rutgers basketball, I think we'll come out with a dub easy.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's good confidence. You got to think that
Yeah.
way.
And even though you guys are away, you're still gonna have a pretty hefty Rutgers fan base with all your people from Dayton, Antoine, all his people. So definitely think that'll give you guys a little
Yeah. How
boost
many
that you
tickets
need.
did you have to score?
No, it's definitely, hey, no, yeah. So I've been texting guys the last couple of days trying to get tickets, and is I know Antoine's doing the same thing, but no, we should have a good amount. I probably got about 30 tickets, and I know
Oh,
Antoine has about 30 as well. So yeah,
oh.
yeah.
So
So
the
we're gonna have
coaches have to
a
go out
good.
and buy some tickets for you
Yeah,
guys?
yeah. So people are, I'm even telling people, hey, like you might have to pay for some tickets. So it's gonna be another homecoming game for me, and I'm very excited, man. I never won at Ohio State all the whole time I've been here, so I never won at Ohio State, and I think my record with Ohio State is maybe like 2-4. So they always
Oh,
get the edge on me, always for some reason, man. But so this is going to be another special game that I feel like I have to win this game. This is one of those games that I got circled on the calendar. So I'm
oh,
really
no
excited
kidding.
coming into this game. Yeah, man, I'm really excited. So
Well, good. I'm sure you'll play well, and I just got to tell you, you have another highlight that you made against Indiana, and if they could get that up on the big Tron board before the games, you would have not only the block from Ohio State
yeah,
last year, but that steal and dagger dunk
yeah,
that you had in the game against Indiana. You brought the house down.
yeah,
It was just textbook DPOY, defensive player of the year, gets a key steal and then takes off knowing
yeah.
that Paul's going to get the ball and throw it to you and then puts you guys up 15. I hope they put that one up on the board because that's another highlight film. And maybe even Bianca here with her digital prowess can put it on our show. And I
Right.
think that play was iconic as well. So congrats.
Yeah,
Another
thanks, man.
little
Appreciate it.
notch in the belt for your highlight reel.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they'll figure something out with that one, man. Because like you said, that was pretty stellar at that moment, man. And I'm glad, I'm just glad we got the dub. The Big Ten is not easy. The Big Ten is every day. Every day it's a grind. There's no days off at all. So I'm looking forward to playing at Ohio State, and yeah, man. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well,
I'm excited for what's next.
we wish you all the best. We'll be watching, obviously. Um,
We look forward to another W and coming back to Seton Hall, which battle for New Jersey. You got to do that for us. I know you're kind of a reborn Jersey guy,
Right.
but there's people in Jersey that really that game means so much. So that's the next one you circle. As soon as you're done with Ohio State, put a big circle and a
Yeah,
heart on
right.
that one.
No, man, I definitely got to be ready for these next couple of games. I didn't even think about that. I kind of forgot about the Seton Hall, man. But that's another game that I gotta have. It's just games that you want to win so bad, and you gotta have them. Those are the games that I gotta have. And I got love for New Jersey. The love I got for New Jersey is very, very strong. I got family here. And so I definitely got to have that one. That's another big game that I want under my belt, especially it being my last year and my last time playing them. I gotta go out with a win for
There
sure.
you go. So I'm glad we were able to remind you not to look past Ohio State too much, but
Right.
make sure Seton Hall's a W.
Oh yeah, man, I got to. That's another game circled on the calendar. So
There you go.
all right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you giving us this time right before your game. Again, best of luck, and we hope to hear from you soon.
well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. So maybe we can do this again sometime soon. But thank you
And in
guys.
person.
Well, we'll
And
have you into the
100%.
studio.
All right.
Absolutely. You gotta come
I
over.
gotta pull up to the studio, man, and see what it's like.
I'll show you some of my swag from years past.
All right, I gotta check it out, man. See what's going on in there.
You got it, Caleb. All right. Thanks again and best of luck.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Bye. And that's our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to try to make this a weekly thing where we don't just talk about Rutgers sports or basketball, but the whole sports world, all the hot topics, the current trends right now, political controversies. We would love to hear your feedback in the comments, and you guys already know the deal. Subscribe if you want to get notified when we post next, and we'll see you next time.